Right, good morning everyone. Welcome to another edition of Mr. West Reads. Carry on reading the brilliant David Walliams' The Ice Monster. So quick recap of where we're up to so far. So Elsie, who's the main character, escaped from the children's home, from the orphanage, and she camped out in the Natural History Museum. And then while she was there, a woolly mammoth was discovered in the Arctic and was brought to the Natural History Museum where Elsie was. And so Elsie decided she really wanted to see it. So she broke into the museum, or snuck into the museum, and she got to see the ice monster. And then the Queen Victoria, was also arrived at the Natural History Museum, and she is there. So remember, Lancaster is there again, and Lancaster is the head of security. Is he the head of security? Let's check in characters. This is why this book's brilliant. It's got all the characters at the beginning. Commissioner Barker, so remember, he's the head of the police. The Chelsea pensioners are there, so that also Ray Lancaster is the museum's portly director, so he's in charge of the whole museum. Okay, so Queen Victoria is there with her aide Munchie, and let's reread this last page. Okay, so it's a bit small for a monster, said Queen Victoria, looking up at the woolly mammoth. Lancaster was once again blindsided by the lady. Well, he spluttered. I can only apologise, Your Majesty, but this mammoth is probably only a year or so old. It's a child, really. The Queen looked lost in thought for a moment. Have you got any bigger ones? Lancaster looked desperately around at the faces of the assembled great and good for help, but no one came. No, I'm afraid not, ma'am. Finding any prehistoric creature, let alone one in such perfect condition, is extremely rare. This is the find of the century. My dear departed husband, Prince Albert, would have liked it. Such a shame he isn't here with me to see this. Albert loved animals. I am more of an opera fan myself, aren't I, Munchie? Her elegant companion smiled weakly. You have a unique singing voice, Your Majesty. His wry answer made the old lady chuckle, but the chuckle turned into a cough. A concerned Abdul steadied her. Thank you, Munchie. I don't know what I would do without you. Nor me with you, Your Majesty. The unlikely pair shared a smile. Then the Queen looked back up at the mammoth. Does it do anything? She inquired. I'm so sorry, Your Majesty. I don't know what you mean, replied Lancaster. Sweat was now pouring off his brow. Like a trick? She asked with girlish excitement. The museum's director paused before he spoke, gathering his thoughts. Sadly not, Your Majesty. This creature has been dead for 10,000 years. So, as dead goes, I would say you can't get much deader. It's dead as dead can be. Oh, that's a shame. I suppose it is rather pretty, if you like that sort of thing, which I do. Lancaster shuffled awkwardly. Do you have any other questions, Your Majesty? The Queen thought for a moment. When are we having tea and cake? I was dragged halfway across London to come here. These days I don't like to leave the place too much. At my age it all becomes a bit of a bother. But my eyes lit up at the promise of tea and cake, you see, and I haven't had so much as a scone. I meant any questions about the mammoth, Your Majesty. The what? This creature here. No, replied the Queen with her customary bluntness. Shame it's dead already, came a deep voice from the shadows of the hall, or I would shoot it. All heads turned to see who had so rudely interrupted Her Majesty, the Queen. Who's this? Chapter 15, Extinction Business. Out of the darkness stepped a figure dressed in a pith helmet, knee-high lace-up boots, and a khaki coat. A plume of grey cigar smoke followed it. Who the blazes is that? Demanded the Queen, struggling to see. Oh, no, 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 stammered Lancaster. Who is it? Lady Buckshot, the big game hunter, Your Majesty, replied Lancaster. Oh, no, agreed the Queen. Disapproving murmurs echoed around the hall. What's you doing here? Pressed the Queen. Well, ma'am, replied the hunter, I shot and killed every stuffed animal in the museum. Such a shame the animals weren't arms, or they could have fired back, hissed the Queen to Abdul, just loud enough for Buckshot to hear. Abdul couldn't help but laugh. It's a shame this monster here is already dead, began Buckshot. It would have been my great pleasure to shoot it right between the eyes. Well, Lady Buckshot, sputtered Lancaster, the mammoth still as a species has long been extinct. I'm in the extinction business, replied the hunter. I would wipe out every creature on earth if I could. Well, she's a bit mean, isn't she? How delightful for you, said the Queen sarcastically. Now where is this tea and cake? Lancaster leaped in. Tea and cakes will now be served in the gallery. If you would follow me. The Queen took Abdul's arm and shuffled out of the hall. The great and the good all followed, which left Buckshot alone with the mammoth. From the top of the stairs, Elsie and Dotty watched as she marched right up to the front of the tank. She mimed taking out a shotgun, loading it, and firing. Boom! She even provided a sound effect before miming the mammoth's brains splurging out. She chuckled to herself before drifting back into the shadows. Now only Elsie and Dotty were left in the main hall. I am trembling, chattered Elsie, holding on to the balcony rail. The evil stench of Buckshot's cigar smoke had snaked all the way up there. Me too, the evil woman. She's always dragging in some poor tiger or lion she's shot, with a wicked grin on her face. So now she's gone, do we dare? Asked the girl. Dare what? Replied the cleaning lady. Do we dare go down and take a closer look? Dotty shook her head. Oh, Elsie, you'll get me into deep doo-doo. Let's just go down and have a very, very quick look, said Elsie. When the girl put it that way, it was hard to say no. A very quick look, asked Dotty. A glance, really. A glimpse. Less than a glimpse. A peep. A peek! Exactly, replied Elsie. Dotty sighed heavily. All right then, let's have a peek at this mammoth. I think it's mammoth, corrected Elsie. Yeah, mammoth, that's what I said. Elsie smiled and pulled the lady along by her sleeve. Dotty, come on. Chapter 16, Cheeks Ablaze. I'm not sliding down this banister, protested Elsie. But it's the fastest way down, replied Elsie. Dotty was right to be reluctant. It was an awfully long way from the topmost floor of the museum to the bottommost. In the time we've been arguing, we could already have been at the bottom, reasoned Elsie. The girl clambered onto the banister. Dotty sighed, then hitched up her skirt and joined her. This is an extremely bad idea, said the lady. It was too late. Whoosh! Out! Me bottom cheeks are ablaze, complained Dotty. Hold on, called Elsie. Soon they ran out of banister. The girl landed on the floor. Thud! Dotty landed on top of her. Thud! Mesmerized, Elsie approached the ice monster. All that was separating the girl from a species that had become extinct thousands of years ago were a few inches of glass and ice. Funny looking thing, muttered Dotty. I think it's beautiful, whispered the girl. It's like the biggest cuddly toy in the whole wide world. Dotty chuckled. Dotty chuckled. I'm not sure it would be all that cuddly if it was alive. Now come on, we need to get out of here before Mr. Clout comes back. The girl stood still. Elsie! Elsie! The lady tugged at the little girl's arm. We need to go. I don't want to leave it here, replied Elsie. You are? Dotty couldn't believe what she was hearing. It looks sad. You'd look sad if you'd been dead for 10,000 years. Let me climb on your shoulders. You what? I need to take a closer look. Young lady, we need to get out of here now, before the Queen, Her Majesty, comes back. Quicker than a peek, implored Elsie. A peekaboo, I promise. No, now come on. With that, Dotty tried to drag the girl out of the hole. However, Elsie was far too quick for her. Before Dotty knew it, Elsie had climbed up on her back. What the? Hold on to my ankles, she ordered. Elsie stood on the lady's shoulders as a reluctant Dotty dutifully held on to her. The girl was now at the head height with the mammoth. She pressed her nose up against the cold glass and stared deep into one of its little black eyes. What are you doing up there? Called Dotty. The truth was, Elsie didn't exactly know what she was doing up there. All she did know was that she was transfixed. She didn't move. It was as if she were frozen solid too. We need to go, implored Dotty. Still, Elsie stared. Then the most magical thing happened. It was a moment that changed everything. A bead of water formed in the creature's eye. It's crying, called down Elsie. Oh, Matt, you're imagining things, young lady. That man moth hasn't cried since long before I was born. Now come down. Not yet. What do you mean, not yet? Not yet means not yet. Down the corridor there was the sound of footsteps. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. Clout was onto them. We need to go now, cried Dotty, with the girl still standing on her shoulders. She began running as fast as she could. Whoa! Exclaimed Elsie as she tried to stop wobbling. Click, clack, click, clack. Who goes there? Clout's shout echoed along the corridor. Elsie toppled over and down Dotty's back. Now she was riding her like a horse. Giddy up, ordered the girl, as together they made their escape. Chapter 17, Curious Creatures. In her many years working there, Dotty had cleaned every inch of the Natural History Museum. She knew all the best hiding places. Down here, hissed the lady, as she led Elsie down some stone steps. Ahead of them stood a huge metal door with a sign that read, Do not enter. Dotty fished in her pocket and pulled out a jangling bunch of keys. It's one of these, she muttered to herself. But which one? Pressed Elsie. I know it's a metal one. They're all metal. They're keys. Give them here. Elsie snatched the keys off Dotty, and after a few attempts she found the right one. She unlocked the door and ushered Dotty inside. Then, as quietly as she could, the girl closed the door behind them and locked it. Clunk. Listening through the thick metal, the pair heard the sound of footsteps descending the stairs. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. The door handle was turned. Rattle, rattle. The pair held their breath. There followed the sound of footsteps ascending the stairs. Click, clack, click, clack. The pair exhaled. Thank goodness Clout doesn't have his keys, whispered Elsie. No, replied Dotty. They're right here, she added, holding up the set in her hand. I lost mine, so I borrowed his. Clever Dotty. I'm not just a pretty face, said the cleaning lady. Elsie smiled. There was no answer to that. So, where are we? The Natural History Museum in London. Yes, I know that, Dotty. I mean, where in the Natural History Museum in London? All right, we're in the storeroom. Now stay close to me. If upstairs was full of wonders, downstairs was even more so. The storeroom was full of things that were too weird to be put on show. The pair passed a number of curious creatures pickled in tanks. There was a shark with two heads, a giant tortoise the size of a baby elephant, and a snake as long as a cricket pitch. Overlooking them were stuffed conjoined twin owls, a mighty lump of red rock that looked like it had fallen to Earth from another planet, and an egg so big it must have belonged to a megalosaurus. Prehistoric human skull squatted on a plinth. It was a bizarre-looking half-human and half-ape. "What's this?" asked the girl. Dotty ambled over. "Dunno, I wouldn't touch it if I was you. It looks spooky." If, if you think that skull looks spooky, you've never met Mrs. Curdle. Who? She ran the orphanage I escaped from, and she's got warts bigger than this. Elsie rested her hand on the top of the skull, and it wobbled slightly. Intrigued, the girl rotated the top piece of the skull back from the jaw. Creak! Suddenly, the pair realized they were spinning around. Elsie, touching the skull, had opened a secret door. Now they were plunged into total darkness. "Ah!" they screamed. Chapter 18. Darkest Dark. "Something's grabbing hold of me!" yelled Dotty. "Something's grabbing hold of me too!" yelled Elsie. "Help!" they screamed. "I think we might be grabbing each other," said the girl. "Oh yeah. Shall we let go?" "Yeah." They did so. "That's better," said Dotty. "Where are we?" asked Elsie. "Still in the Natural History Museum in London." "Yes, I know that." "All right. I mean, where in the museum are we?" "I don't know," answered Dotty. "I've been cleaning this place for donkey's years and I ain't ever been in here. It must be a secret room." "A secret room? God blimey!" Elsie couldn't hide her excitement. "Let's explore." "You go first," said Dotty. "I'll be right behind you in case of an attack from the rear." Knowing that the old dear was frightened, Elsie said, "Hold my hand." Together, they made their way across the dark room towards a faint flicker of light. On closer inspection, it turned out to be a dusty old bottle, thick with cobwebs. The girl blew on the bottle to reveal its contents. A light was dancing under the glass. It was as if a ghost were trapped in there. "It's alive," said Elsie. "How can a bottle be alive?" "I don't know, but look, something's inside." Dotty peered in. "Very queer. Whatever you do, don't touch it." Like most children, Elsie had selective hearing, and on this occasion chose not to listen. She reached out her hand to touch the bottle. "Ouch!" she yelled, recoiling in pain. "What did I tell you? It's hot." The girl put down the sleeve of her coat to save her fingers from being burned. "I wonder what's inside," she pondered. "Whatever you do," repeated Dotty, "don't open it." Again, the child chose not to listen, and slowly she began easing the cork out of the bottle. "I said don't," repeated Dotty. Pop! A bolt of light shot out, illuminating the room for a split second in brilliant white. Zang! "Elsie!" shouted Dotty. It was too late. The fizzing beam hit Elsie, and her whole body lit up. Jolts of light buzzed all over her. "Ah!" she screamed. Her hair stood on end, and smoke billowed from her ears. Was she going to explode? Then, as quickly as the light had appeared, it disappeared. Elsie slumped to the floor like a sack of potatoes. Thud. Splosh! The next thing Elsie knew was that she was wet, soaking wet. Her eyes opened to see Dotty standing over her, holding a bucket. Splosh! There was another wave of freezing cold water drenched her. Splosh! And another. Next, the lady began slapping the girl around the face. Slap, 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 slap. "Wake up, Elsie! Wake up, please! Don't die on me! It's all right, I am awake," she called up. Dotty began shaking the girl just to make sure. "Stop shaking me!" "Sorry," said Dotty. "What on earth was in that bottle?" My reading, it ain't so good. The lady read aloud what was scrawled on the label. Lightning. Lightning in a bottle? That's what it says. How can you catch lightning in a bottle? That's impossible. Nothing is impossible, came a voice from the shadows. Who's that going to be? That's exciting. Right, I hope you enjoyed that. So I hope you're all okay. Hope you've had a nice weekend. Remember, if you need anything, email, go onto our website, our school website, and you'll find a Year 4 email address, and just send an email asking for any work packs or anything you need, and you can pick those up from school. We can print them out for you, and you can go and collect them from school. Okay, so just let us know, and one of the teachers will get back to you. Okay, guys, looking forward to seeing you all soon. Take care. Bye.